Greetings everyone, I'm Mar. Once again, this is my opinion. As you can tell from the title, I am continuing to trudge through the episodes of Everybody Loves Raymond. We only have a couple left in Season 4, and then Season 5 will begin with a bang. In this one, it's Someone's Cranky, the continuing story of Robert and having to deal with his encounter with El Toro Grande. Now, before I get too far into it, just a reminder, if you want to support the channel, you can join the Patreon. The link is down below. You join it, you'll gain access to certain videos early, and you will also be able to submit requests, whether you want me to review a movie, whether you want me to review a TV series, heck, if you even want me to just do a topic discussing certain things, like the blue collars in cinema that my good buddy John had me do a couple months back. If you just want to do one-off requests or one-off support, the PayPal link is also down below. Someone's Cranky. Now, as the title suggests, Robert is not happy. Well, you could see why. I mean, he was gored by a bull, he's been hobbling, he's been healing, he's been having to move back in with his parents after the big production of him moving out in the previous season, so being in his 40s, everything going wrong, it seems. You could see why he's in a bad mood. Especially since he finds out he has to stay there longer after a doctor's visit, and he's in a very bad mood. Now, living with Frank and Marie, he does have to have a little fun, like we see in the opening scene where he hides stuff from them underneath his tushy cushion. He sits on because obviously gored by the bull. Even after healing a little bit, there's going to be some soreness there. He sat on a hard surface like a pew in church. Ow! Well, he plays pranks on them, hides stuff. Big Spoon hides Frank's TV guide. Well, when he gets the news from the doctor, he's in a really, really, really foul mood. And he starts taking it off on everybody else. So when Ray walks in randomly, you can really feel the tension because Frank and Marie, they're acting a little bit more sensitive. And I love the way that Peter Boyle endorsed Robert's play this, because you can really feel that even if he's not intending it, well, he probably is, but even if he's not intending to go this overboard, he is making their life a living hell. And they're trying to get Ray to come over. And of course, being in his foul mood, Robert goes into attack Ray mode and starts calling him names, like a trained poodle that he names Princess. Does Princess want a Fruit Loop? And he ends up walking out after another little argument. And of course, to add to this, his birthday is coming up, which that probably also brings back bad memories, or at least I'd like to think it brings back bad memories, considering we found out 2 seasons ago that his whole life literally was a lie, because they lied about his birthday to keep from him that he was technically illegitimate. So I'm guessing those type of things are coming in. Debra, of course, being the outsider, since she married into this family, trying to keep the peace as she always does, goes and tries to talk with Robert when they go to his apartment for his birthday, bringing a cake. Which, of course, we get the usual Marie comment, the way that Robert's behaving, this is the perfect cake for him type thing, where it's like, ugh. But as I've said before, sitcom writing. Well, after Robert snaps at her, because he's still on a pity pot, she goes in there, because unlike the other 3, I mean, we might see it sometime from Marie, but it's very few and far between. And when it comes to a situation like this, she's not going to really do it. Frank maybe a little bit, but they're at his house, so I don't think he's going to do it. Debra goes in there and gives Robert a piece of her mind. Like, why are you doing this? And then she starts playing psychoanalyst. And her point actually is true this time. Other times when she tries to play it, it turns out not to be the case. Like back in the episode where Frank got the fish tank on his birthday. And Debra thought that he was upset for one reason. It turned out it was a more simple reason and a more true to Frank reason. It was the cost of the fish and not the fact that it was a metaphor for his impending death. And this time she actually hits the nail right on the head. And that is that, to use her words, Robert was not upset that he had only 3 weeks to stay there. He was upset that he only had 3 weeks to stay there. In case you're not getting what I mean by that, it wasn't that, okay, you can go home in 3 weeks. All right, that's good. 3 weeks. 3 more weeks with them. Oh my God. It was, you can leave home in 3 weeks. Oh no, 3 weeks. Really? Only 3 more weeks of people being with people that care about me? And when Robert does realize that, he breaks down. He really breaks down. It's breakdown so loud that the other 3 in the other room can hear him, and they're like, can you believe this? They don't say it, but it's just the way that their body language is, that they're like, wow. He breaks down, like, everything Ma does is it just tastes better. There's something weird about it. Which, of course, he does raise a good point, like you don't think it'd be different. But even when you have the recipe right, there's just something different about the way your mother or grandmother makes something for you that makes it feel special, and I think that's probably the whole love thing. But that could also be a vibe thing. It just tastes different for some reason. And he points that out, that even though Frank is also kind of a jerk, he still does love his son. I mean, we've seen in another episode he does go to bat for him. And of course Ray, even though they have a weird little relationship, they do love each other, but that's brothers, despite what a certain Irish madman that lives in Connecticut would say with his whole, brothers don't fight, pal. Yeah, they do, but they also go to bat for each other. And in a couple episodes' time, we're going to go see Robert go to bat with Ray in a big way. And of course, as you can figure, after all this, everyone reconciles, and it's a big, nice, happy thing, even though the last little gag of the episode is Marie pulling a Marie when it comes to the cake again. Now, it's not in the final episode, but there is a fun little blooper reel with that thing, and that is, you got to think about it in wrestling logic for a second before I get to this. Those of you who probably already heard that probably already know where it's going. And that is, you have a cake, either someone's coming out of it or someone's getting pushed in it. Debra has a cake, Robert's behind her, is like, it hurts so good, doesn't it? Right in his face. I'm surprised they didn't put that in the final episode. That would have been the perfect ending shot of the episode. It's nice the way it is, but that, and then just her walking away and all that. But if I remember right, they start corpsing right afterwards because of how ridiculous it was. So I could see why they didn't put it in the final episode. But it's nice to send the audience home happy. This is another Tucker Cawley episode. He does a pretty good job writing the characters. That it's not really a monologue since there are breaks, but that big old speech interlaid with comments from Debra that he wrote at the end of the episode for Robert and Debra to work off each other. And of course, combine it with Brad Garrett and Patricia Heaton's performances. It really does work. And of course, Debra's whole thing in there. Hello, dear. Holy crap. That whole thing. You can definitely see why this season Patricia Heaton won the Emmy. More on that next episode. There's not really many notes to talk about with this episode. It's a nice episode. Definitely one that should not be skipped, especially if you are just showing somebody bits and pieces. If you want to show them the important aspects of Robert's little bull arc in this season, this is one not to skip. You can kind of skip over the next one to get to confronting the attacker, because they're not all in sequence. It's just like little bits of continuity with him hobbling. But this is one of the ones that it focuses on. There's really only 3 main episodes involving it. That's the one where he gets gored, this one, and then confronting the attacker, which we'll get to in 2 episodes' time. Oh no, pretty fun episode. Develops the arc further. Nice to see Robert do a little thing. Him have a little cathartic moment with Debra, showing a little bit more insight into their relationship as brother and sister-in-law. Of course, the other characters are there. They're just there to build up to the whole moment where Robert decides to snap. It's nice to see how they're acting around him. And of course, they're trying to make light of it, especially Ray a little bit, but that's just how he is with humor. Which, of course, is why in one episode, Marie does tell him straight up, you know, I think you're the only one who thinks you're funny. In universe, maybe. Out of universe, we all think Ray is funny. To varying degrees, depending on the season. Even if there are times where we're like, really, man? You're going to be like that? Which, that's a point we're going to bring up next episode, of course, because next episode is going to be a double Emmy hitter. It's going to be the one that Patricia Heaton won her first one for this show, and was also the first win. But it's also going to be the first nomination for writing. And, of course, it's going to be a Phil and Ray written episode, and it's going to be revolving around a certain feminine hygiene issue. Make of that what you will. Till next time, guys.